Very good questions. Thank you so much. We're going to move right into closing comments for each speaker. Professor Singer's first for 5 minutes.
Thank you. Well, I think we've had a very interesting and I hope enlightening exchange of views. Let me say, I think this is exactly what universities should be about open discussion and debate of fundamental issues, and I'm glad we're doing it. Thank you. Let me also mention one other argument about relativism, about religion and theism, which I wanted to mention in my opening statement but ran out of time. It seems to me another powerful argument against any particular religion, including Christianity, including monotheism, is that if we look at the facts sociologically, we know that the probability of being a Christian, a believing Christian, is overwhelmingly greater if you were the child of Christian parents and or grew up in a Christian society. And had you been the child of Muslim parents growing up in Saudi Arabia, it's overwhelmingly likely that you would have been a Muslim. And we can say the same about other religions. This, I think, makes it more difficult to believe, not impossible, but makes it more difficult to believe, to be confident of your belief in any particular religion. Because it seems that sociological factors have such a powerful influence rather than simply looking at the evidence and the argument and coming to the conclusion that one religion is true or the other. Let me just briefly run through a couple of other things that I don't think Dinesh has responded to at all. He hasn't responded to my criticisms of the God revealed through the Bible, either of the genocidal divinity of the Old Testament. Say, for example, it's only one of several examples of Numbers 31. He hasn't responded to the question as to whether Jesus actually got it wrong about the second coming, or whether we have to interpret the Gospels so metaphorically that we can't really have any more sense of what their literal truth is. Let me also say that Dinesh has on many occasions, in fact, right from his opening statements about morality and what would happen if we were godless, through to his arguments about suffering, where he says, well, at least the theist can console the sufferer and say, well, this life is not the only thing that there is, and give them hope of eternal life after death and so on, that this is perhaps, again, an explanation for the prevalence of religion. An explanation because it offers us comfort in a universe that does perhaps appear to many people to be bleak, especially if you've been brought up with the belief that the universe has some kind of overarching purpose and we're going to live eternally and so on. It can seem bleak to say, no, there really is no overarching purpose to it, it just exists, and we are mortal. We're going to be on this earth for 10 or 20 or 50 or 70 or 80 or, if we're very lucky, 100 years, but that's really going to be it. That's all there is. After that, the body dies and consciousness does not survive. I can easily understand why people find it consoling to believe that that is not true, but that should not be a reason for you to believe it to be true. We can't just shape the universe in accordance with our wishes and desires. We can tell ourselves all sorts of fairy stories in that way. I think we have to look at the universe as it is. And although it may appear bleak, I think it's still a fascinating place, a place in which we can have our own purposes. There's no, as I said, no overarching purpose to its creation, but we can still feel we are here in the universe. There are many things we can do. Things, of course, we can do things that we enjoy, but we can also find purpose in trying to reduce the amount of suffering that exists in the world, which, as I've said, both atheists and Christians do, and we can feel that if we have, by the time we die, by the time we reach the end of however many years it is, we have left the world a somewhat better place than it would have been if we'd not lived, then at least perhaps we can die with some sense of fulfillment and satisfaction because we have done that. And for me, I have to say, that's enough, and that's all that I can believe in. Thank you.